Hi everyone, so cheers for checking out this episode. So we finally got it over here in the UK, the Massami RC10. So obviously everyone that's going to be watching this is going to know. So this is basically what Team Associate were running in the 89 IFMAR World Championships. Yes, it's not a kit that you could buy. Obviously, if you've watched the Team Associated videos, they basically just explain why this didn't come out in production. Back then they were sort of like, and this car especially, they were sort of like built purely for that one specific track, that one specific race. So mega excited to have this on the channel, and yes, we're going to be getting it built and run. So in December we've got the Jingle Bells Cup. I'll be running the RC10 four-wheel drive in the four-wheel drive category, and I'm going to be running this in the two-wheel drive category. So yeah, looking forward to running it, but I will hopefully have it out before then. In the meantime, give it a shakedown run, etc. So what I'll do, I'll bring you over, we'll quickly have a look inside, and then we'll get it built. I'm not going to do a full unboxing because there's plenty out there already, and yeah, I don't do full build videos anyway, but I'll go through, I'll build it, I'll jump back in if and when we find any issues with the build, and I'm pretty sure you'll all be aware that there are a few issues. I know Kai City's done a good video on it, highlighting some of the issues, but we'll get it built, reiterate any issues. But for now, let's get this cracked open and crack on with the build. So before we get her opened up, obviously there's the box. It's got a nice picture up on the front there, the Massami signature on the side there. Obviously it's got all the pictures through what it's all, basically the build of it, all the features, etc. And then a little bit more there. I mean, I know this is a pretty iconic picture of Massami, with he's got almost as many trophies as me, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know where he puts them all, but I know I struggle. And then yeah, on the back, obviously the upgrade parts. The big one is the chassis. I know everyone's like gone, why didn't it come with the carbon chassis? I know Associated hinted on that for running, the alloy one's going to be better. I don't know the price of it, but I still don't think it's a cheap chassis to replace. I know this carbon one's somewhere around £200. For a £400 kit, I do believe it should have come with that chassis on, especially as a replica. Yes, the alloy one's good for running, but if you're going to run it, you'll get a Lexan underguard made to fit. You could trim something down to fit, or you could put on some helicopter tape. So again, I think it's a bit of a cop-out. The JJ Ultima came with an expensive chassis, and that was at the same price point as this. So yeah, that's my first disappointment, but it's not going to put me off because we will be running the snot off this on the track, and I'll probably get the carbon chassis at some point, but it's not essential because I'm not one of these that has to have the full-on replica of someone's car, but it'll be nice to run. So there we go. Once you open it up, you've got your wheels and tyres. So obviously the tyres on the back, they're a bit similar to a Schumacher mini spike that you'd have got back then, and then the front ones, yeah, I mean, I'm going to be running this on grass, so the rear ones might not be too bad. The front ones maybe a bit too much grip, and then obviously you've got all the nice white or ivory components, and there's the rather sexy carbon top deck and the body. So I know a few people said that there's no cut lines on the body. Obviously the cut lines that are on it, if these are cut lines, I really don't know, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Got the wing, and it's the, yeah, it's the standard normal wing. Little bags. And then we've got the chassis itself. and I'll be honest, doesn't feel too weighty. So that, I think that's just print. I don't know if that's etched or not. I really don't know. And then you've got your little holographic sticker, Massami Hirosaka Edition. All the countersinking. And then obviously you get these a lot with Associated. You get the little postcards, basically, is what I call them. And then all your sticker and decal sets. And I know it's been pointed out before, but you can either just sticker it up as Massami's body, or apparently there's a set of masks in here to use to mask off all the, I think it's an octopus. But I will not be going box art on this, as it's going to be a runner, so I need it to be nice and visible when it's on the track. So that's it. I'll crack on with the build, and if there's anything interesting, I'll let you know, but we'll jump back in every now and then and see how the build's going. So let's get cracking. Okay, so we are bag A down, and it's basically fitting up the front arms and the steering. And I do have this left over. I can't see anywhere in the instructions where this goes, but it was just in bag A, I believe. And 2 E-clips. So obviously, I know a lot of people struggle putting them on. Not the best things to put on in the world, but it's nice to see that you get a few extra in there. So the very first thing, obviously, your steering says to trim off the back. So you're basically just trimming off that back portion there. I wouldn't use a pair of pliers, because I've got a feeling you probably could end up cracking the plastic as it goes round. It's not going to show up there, but pretty close. I just went round with some flush cuts, these that you use for zip ties, and just nibbled away at it until it would all come off. But yeah, nothing to report so far. You have 4 that are all the same size, and that one is slightly bigger, and it goes onto the hole furthest on the inside. They're all the small holes, so you do have to just ream that one hole out, make it a little bit bigger, just so you can get the ball stud in. And then yeah, we've got all that on, and then we're on to building the awesome diff. So I'll get the diff built up, and then once I've done bag C, so yeah, so bag B is all up in there. So I've got through A and B. So we'll jump on to bag C, get the diff built, and we'll jump back and have a look how the build's going. We are now at the end of bag C. So basically it's just building up the gearbox and the slipper. So it's been pointed out before that it's got the original style slipper, so I'm guessing they're going for the authentic look. It even comes with the brass in the slipper for the I think they're called torque bearing bushes. But yeah, so 2 screws. I've got a feeling that these 2 extra ones are for your spur gear. So obviously you've got those 2 screws there. Obviously if you were to lose one or lose them both, then you're pretty much goose unless you've got any others. So hopefully that's what they are. And then obviously these 2 little bits, they were left over. I don't know stealth gearboxes. Everyone knows me knows I don't, so hopefully they weren't needed. I've been through the instructions, and yeah, I can't see where it's needed to be, but yeah, all coming along looking lovely. Obviously that's your cut down rear motor plate. It's obviously different to the gold pan. It's just that little bit. When I went to put it on, I actually put these 2 screws in before the bottom ones. I know sometimes it's a little bit awkward, and then it's basically just shimmy it round into place and then get those 2 in and then get them nipped up. But yeah, nice easy build. I've not had, like I said, I've not had any major issues with the instructions, but I know that there are some. We've come across some, and no doubt we'll have more to come, but let's crack on with the build. And bag D is done. So rear arms and hubs, bulkhead. So the bulkhead's quite interesting because obviously it's narrowed down at that point, and basically you've got the 2 screws in there that attach it. So obviously you're not going to have anything on the side, but obviously braced up there, nice and sturdy. I am going to look at changing that for the carbon. I am going to do some upgrades to this over time. Steering is probably going to be the first thing that I look at, see what's out there. This part in carbon, just carbon shock towers, sorry. But yeah, so that's it all done. Absolutely no issues. There are a couple of things to take note when you're building it. And it does actually say, so obviously the rear body post, if you're doing the Massami build, the rear of the body's cut off, so you don't need that. And obviously the wing tubes, you don't need them. So I've not fitted the rear body post or the wing tubes because I will be doing it as the Massami build. And then yeah, so coming along nicely. So moving on to bag E, and it's the turnbuckles. Where's bag E at? So yeah, as everyone said, it's those horrible plastic ones. So I'm probably going to fit these. I don't know if I've got any others, but we get some proper turnbuckles, which is nice to see. But yeah, so not a lot on this bag, so I'll jump through with the build and then we'll jump back in, see how it's going. Right, so we're now at the end of bag E, and yes, the turnbuckles, absolutely hate these things. However, you do get this tool, which, so that will actually fit the turnbuckle adjusters nicely. However, because these are so tight in there, they just end up popping off. Getting them on, I tried winding them on further than what they need to, so basically winding the ends as far as they could and then coming back. That doesn't seem to make these any easier to go. I use this, which is just a cheap shock set that I got, and obviously this is putting your ball ends on, and the Associate ones do fit in that nicely. It grips them so you can just hold it. I was actually using this to hold the turnbuckle as opposed to the spanner because it's tedious and it just slips off. It's because it's such a bit of a, well, it is a slightly bit of a loose fit. It doesn't stay on there snug. So hold the turnbuckles, whip the ball ends on with one of these, and then basically it was just a case of getting the vernier out and then seeing how far off it was and then just turning it sort of like quarter of a turn, eighth of a turn. But yeah, so we're now moving on to bag F, and we won't have a lot left to go after this, so we'll get bag F done and then we'll jump back and we'll have a look and see how it's coming along. Right, so yes, I've lost a little bit of footage when I was going through the build, but yes, it is all done. And it has actually had a little run out. So I was racing on Sunday at South Lakes Model Car Club. I was running my Cougar Storm, and I took this just to give it a little run out, basically just make sure everything was working. These rear tyres, so the kit tyres, these are really good on grass. There was loads of grip from these. They're a bit similar to the Schumacher mini spikes, I suppose. The front's way too much grip. They were just too bitey. The front doesn't help either. It's got a lot of travel on the front, so as you're coming into a corner, it's just pitching down. Obviously, there's a lot of weight going up on the front. It does need a little bit of setup. There's a little bit of towing. I think one of the front wheels, the camber's not quite right, but like I say, we've just done a box build, including kit oils. And yeah, diff, I think the diff just needs a little nip up. But yeah, absolutely love the build. Obviously the issues, the caps, obviously on the instructions, it says that you have bleeder valves in the top caps. Obviously you don't with these. One of the rear shocks I've not got bled properly, so it's lost about 10 mil of compression, so it doesn't compress all the way down, but that's by the by, because I'll be getting some different shock oil in there, because my plan is to run this at the VMR Jingle Bells event in late November, early December. I can't remember the exact dates now. I think it's like the last weekend of November into December. So I'll be running the RC10 four-wheel drive, and I'll be running this hopefully, if I can get the setup right. Didn't have any ball studs pop off. Yeah, so that's it. Battery wise, obviously I've just gone for the kit configuration that it shows. You can get a 2-cell shorty lipo in there. You do have to just raise these screws up a little bit more, but I've managed to get my lipo in there nicely. So it's just a case now of getting the front worked on, so it's well, a little bit less droop and a little bit stiffer. The back was all right, to be honest. Could do with being just a little bit stiffer for the grass. It was dry grass when we were out, but like I say, these rear tyres, I didn't even have these glued on, purely for the fact that I'm going to need some different tyres for the Jingle Bell, because it's on a cork floor. So I think it's the Schumacher honeycombs. Yeah, the Schumacher honeycomb. So I need to look at getting a set of them and then getting this ready for that event along with the four-wheel drive. But yeah, that was it. The build, it was quite nice from my previous experiences. Some little quirks, obviously through the build, I said obviously you do get the tubes, so you can have the wing going down into the back, and it tells you if you fit the tubes, obviously don't cut that back bit of the body. Absolutely great, but it doesn't give you a wing mount to run, so you do need the wire to run down. So if you are going to run it with the back portion of the body still attached, which I don't think many people are. I think a lot of people, this is going to be done as a authentic replica. The body shell on mine, it's going to be getting sent off along with one for the four-wheel drive. They won't be getting painted box art in the slightest. I don't know what scheme we're going to go for yet, but we'll see it later on in the year. And that's it. So electric wise, I've just gone with what I always run. I've got the Hobbywing XR10 Pro ESC, the Futaba TFHSS receiver, and the Savox SA1258 TG servo. I run these in all my cars. They've been absolutely faultless. Never had an issue with these. And then motor wise, I've got the AB Booth motors, 13.5 stock motor. So the stock motor, basically you've still got the adjustable timing, but looking at the specs, I don't know greatly the difference in the specs, but it's lighter, so it just takes a little bit of weight from the back end. Because this is going to be run indoors, it's probably more ideal for what I want. But that's it. Nothing else to report on the build. I'll be getting some changes done, but other than that, setup change, I don't know what else we can do. But I'm hoping this is what I run at the Jingle Bells. I am tempted to get the Kimwald edition if funds allow. It would be nice to have one of them. But that's it all done. So I did enjoy this build. The RC10 four-wheel drive, thoroughly enjoyed that. Enjoyed this one. It was nice building it and seeing all the subtle differences. So obviously your front end, it's all completely different. The rear end, mega different in the sense that the bulkhead's all cut down, and those two screws there, that's literally the width of the bulkhead as it goes in, because obviously you've got the long arm. But there'll be more videos coming out of these from people as they get them built. I know Andy Robinson's got his to build. He'll go through a more detailed build, I'm guessing, and then other people will be out running them. So I'll be watching, see what people do, get a few tips, and then hopefully we can do this car proud at the Jingle Bells. But that's it for now. Cheers for watching, guys. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.